you see what's happening at the border. All of a sudden, for the first time, we're getting gang members out, we're getting drug lords out, we're getting really bad dudes out of this country, and at a rate that nobody's ever seen before. And they're the bad ones. And it's a military operation because what has been allowed to come into our country, when you see gang violence that you've read about like never before, and all of the things, much of that is people that are here illegally. And they're rough and they're tough, but they're not tough like our people.
And that was President Donald Trump earlier today at the White House talking about how he is working to keep America safe. White House Press Secretary Sean Spicer later clarified the president's military operation comment, saying that he was using that as an adjective. Now, yesterday, Speaker of the House Paul Ryan toured the U.S.-Mexico border. And joining me now is one of the lawmakers who was with Speaker Ryan yesterday, Chairman of the House Committee on Homeland Security, Congressman Mike McCaul. Congressman, thanks for being on the program tonight. Very curious to hear, what did you see on your tour of the border yesterday, and did anything that you see impact or change your opinion about what's necessary?
Well, it was a very productive trip to have the speaker come down. He's never seen it before. You really have to see the border to understand it. He saw it from the air, Black Hawk helicopter, by river and patrol boats, and by land on horseback. And I think a lot of what we saw, most importantly, is the morale of Border Patrol has increased exponentially since the last time I was down there. And I think that's because they have now a president in the White House that supports them, and we now have the political will to finally get this done. And I just can't emphasize that enough. I think one of the great takeaways also, Kimberly, was when you look at what you call the wall or infrastructure to provide physical barriers, they have in McAllen a levee system that's made of concrete that I think can provide a very creative way that the community accepts, because it helps against flood, to provide flood control, a way to put concrete down there but not offend the local communities down on the border. We in Texas have a difficult challenge because unlike San Diego to El Paso, which has a lot of fencing already, we have a river that goes from El Paso down to McAllen and into the Gulf of Mexico. So I thought it was very insightful. I think there were some great takeaways.
Okay, so I was reading some articles earlier, and you were on record saying that you didn't believe perhaps that a wall might be necessary based on what you saw. What did you mean by that?
No, I've said consistently that physical barriers are necessary. I think we're going to see more fencing down there. I think these levees, when you look at the levees, they are made out of concrete, and they do provide a wall, a physical concrete wall, in the Rio Grande Valley. But I think you have to have a smart border, too, that not only relies on physical barriers, but also technology. Kimberly, it's very important to have aviation assets, sensor surveillance, so we have 100% visibility to see from the sky what's happening on the ground, and the sensor cameras to pick up what's happening as well.
Yeah, you have to utilize all the tools that are necessary to be able to effectuate that safety and national security. Just real quick, what are you looking for to see in the talks between Mexico and our new Secretary of State, Rex Tillerson?
I think to have a concerted effort to secure our southern border, and quite frankly, Mexico's southern border. They have a border problem on their own. And I think working together with Mexico to get this thing done is very important. I think Rex Tillerson's a talented guy who I think can accomplish that. I've talked to the Mexican ambassador myself, and he wants to work with us to get that security, and I think it's possible.
Yes, it's mutually beneficial, of course. Both sides have an interest in making sure that the security is maintained. Congressman McCaul, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Kimberly.
And joining us now is another Republican lawmaker who toured the border with Speaker Ryan yesterday, Chairman of the Homeland Security Appropriations Subcommittee, Congressman John Carter. Congressman, thanks for being here tonight. And now let's get your take and your impression of the tour, and if you believe a wall is needed.
Well, the Speaker made a whirlwind tour, but he got to see every element of what we've got on the southern border. The southern border of Texas is very peculiar and different from any of the rest of the southern border in California, Arizona, or New Mexico because of the river. Not only because of the river, because of people own the land that borders that river. And that makes a big difference is what we can do down there. Speaker saw the challenges. I think he's got a real good view of what's going on.
All right. Well, the American people were resounding in their support that put President Trump in office, that they want to build the wall and they want to have Mexico pay for it. Do you believe the wall will be built, and how are we going to pay for it?
Well, I think the wall will be built, and the wall where wall will work will be built hopefully shortly. How it's going to be paid for, that's going to be up to the various negotiations that are going on and what the other committees are working on as a way of coming up with the funding to pay for the wall. And all that will be up in the air temporarily, but I'm looking forward to the supplementary that we think we're going to get in March. Well, hopefully we'll have funds for Homeland Security, which will allow us to get started on this.
Okay, so you do support that we at least put forward and proffer the funds ahead of time, not so much worry about collecting it. Let's get it built and done.
Well, if there's a plan for collecting it, I'm for it, but I'm not aware of the plan.
Okay.
But I do need the funds in order to build the wall, and I support building that wall.
All right, go out and get them. All right, thank you so much, Congressman. And